right, hello boys and girls. Glad to see you again on the forums. I'm going to. I thought I was done with Robby, but I wasn't. There's still another piece. I may never be done with him, but there's still another piece that needs to be animated, and I want to show you this. So the last thing that Robby does, and I hadn't remembered that he does this, is before he actually starts. It's not before he speaks all the time. It's just like he's clearing his throat or something before. So before he has a long number of speeches, he kind of gears up and does this little thing with his voice. So if you watch this here, let's see it. So when these lights come on, so yes, my cats are now coming up here, going, "Daddy, don't talk. Pay attention to me." Okay, so listen to this. Let's see if we listen here. If you, I don't know if you can hear that there. I don't know if it's up loud enough here. Let's see if we can play it one more time so you can hear it. But there's a sound effect, and then his lights come on, so you can see that. So he comes up here. He does, like I say, he doesn't do it all the time. Just the first time he starts speaking.
Welcome.
Okay, so
To Altair 4, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence. If you
So I guess that kind of clicking, lights coming on, and then all these levers moving is him. I don't know, computing what he's going to say next for the next sort of things. I don't know. Like I say, he doesn't do it all the time. Just after a long pause in segments. So I have to do that. So we've got a number of things here that have to happen. These levers have to move back and forth. These levers have to come up and down, and then the light comes on at the very start and then goes off of this. Okay, so a lot of things have to go on for this to happen. So what I've done is show you. I get right to here. I'm going to show you it working first, and then we'll go through it because I want to explain a couple of things about this. So first of all, we're going to import the sound right here at this point in time. So we've imported the sound, and now I'm going to go to the script and run this script. Robby speaks. And so right now, if the sound is up here on my computer, hopefully you'll hear this. Okay. So he did the same thing. So it programmed in all of those switches. So he comes along and hopefully you can hear that from the microphone. Okay, so what happened? So let's show you the code because I want to talk about code. I'm going to talk about code in general since a lot of folks are showing some items on the forum in code. I always show all my code. You so far in any time I've done these things, I've gone through and shown you every single thing that I've done on the code. I'm not hiding any code. I'm a big believer in sharing code. Somebody asked on this thread whether I would share my code, and absolutely. I don't think, like I say, eventually somebody will write something that they want to make some money off of that's worth it. I haven't seen it yet, but eventually it'll happen that somebody will create a comprehensive piece of software, and certainly somebody should get rewarded for their efforts. But for these simple things, rotating items around or moving things in the scene or turning lights on and off, this stuff is simple to do, and no one should really have to pay for doing this, but you should need to know how to do it. Plus, if you know how to do it, then you're going to be able to do it yourself and do it in ways that no one could possibly anticipate. So, for example, here, even though I have these levers, rotating kind of back and forth in that little section, and these levers coming up and down, there's really no way somebody could just write a generalized routine for that. You could definitely write a generalized routine for my rotations, and I will have that code available, but I have not cleaned it up, I guess is the best way. Here, this particular code I'll be glad to share because this I did clean up, and I wrote a nice clean little function called rotate prop. And all you do is you put in the name and the number of frames that you want to wait from your starting position, the rotation amount, the time of the frames, how long it's going to take to rotate, and then the actual rotation direction. So either Y, X, Y, or Z. You can do that. So, and then there's some examples of how I do that in my code. I will be glad to share this. A little tiny little function. There's not really much to it. And I'll be glad to go in and share whatever code you want. If you see me doing something and you think, oh, I really need to know how to do that, I'd like to copy that into my own code, fine. Just let me know. I'll be glad to provide that code for you. But in general, I don't like to put code out there because I always think it's better for you to learn how to fish, and then you can eat for the rest of your life, rather than just give you solutions. Solutions are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for solutions. But I think in general, the idea is to learn what you're doing. And you can see this particular function here, there's not much to it. There's just 4 or 5 lines. And then you just call it. You can call it as much as you want. Here's the name of this prop, and this is the amount of frames. This is the amount of frames at 24 frames per second that you wait before you apply this rotation, and then it's applied at this particular time. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to document all my stuff unless you want me to do it, but that's about it. So that's now I think at this point Robby is pretty much complete. I'm going to show you a completed animation with the whole thing. The next thing I'm working on is lights that operate in change in terms of the frequencies that are played. That'll be good for disco stuff and things you can use. But I'm also going to do some animation because I generated all this with Robby because I have a Robby animation in mind. So I may take a break from coding for a bit until the newest release version. So anyway, that's it, folks. Hopefully, I'll see you on the forum.